Hello and welcome to this week's coffee vlog. It's Friday, what is it actually? 14th. Ooh. Friday the 14th. Oh, it's Valentine's Day, isn't it? Friday the 14th of February. Heading home at 5:15. Just been to drop off some granulated milk powder, of all things, to the White Horse pub, which was packed full of people, very inebriated at this time of night.
Warning, K-band, radar, check.
Whenever anyone walks down there during the day, it's always the same. You can go down there at like 1 o'clock in the afternoon and it's packed full of people who are completely drunk. You're like, how on earth did they actually, manage to do anything in life if by 1 o'clock in the afternoon you're completely drunk, and then you're just gonna be like that until you go home to sleep. But they are. That's evidently what some people do. It does make you wonder how they fund such things as well. If they're spending all day drinking and not working, where's the money come from? It's all very bizarre. So anyway, we've done that little drop and we're heading home. I'm not fancied staying on to do after hours tonight. So it's been, a bit sleepy. So it's been a funny old week. So last Friday, obviously, the vlog was on the Thursday because I went down to my granddad's funeral in Shrewsbury, which all in all went pretty smoothly. Driving went okay, which, considering the amount of distance, is good. Aside from a little bit of a detour heading back out because there was a crash on one of the country roads, which looked particularly nasty, as there was a few fire engines and they were trying to cut someone out of a vehicle. So all the road was blocked, which doesn't take much for those roads, to be honest, because they're not, you can barely get a couple of cars past at the best of times, let alone when there's a fire engine or two sat on them. So yeah, that was alright. Saturday, I kind of had a quite productive morning, and then decided, right, I'm going to head to work and get started tidying up. Cleared a load of junk out, ready for going to the scrap metal place. Not been there yet. It was a plan for this week, but other things sort of conspired to prevent me. So Saturday, went to work, cleaned up and sorted out a load of metal, and then also started painting, which is going to be a long-term project, but the back wall particularly downstairs is peeling paint badly, which I think is partly damp and partly very, very old paint as well. It's just been there for, God knows how many years. So what I thought was get started with that, try and start tidying the place up a little bit at least. So I did. I got on with that, which was pretty good actually. I got to about 5:30, thought, great, I'm done, I'm going to head home. Opened the roller shutter and an old transit van was stuck right in front of the roller shutter. So I was like, I'm not going home then because my car's trapped. So I waited another hour and it hadn't miraculously moved. So I ended up getting a taxi home, which was kind of annoying, but what can you do, really? So I did that. And then Sunday, headed back to work. Now, of course, we had the big crack. This is a very large queue. The big storm, Tiara, come through last weekend. And I didn't really notice that much of it. I mean, it was a bit windy Saturday night, and I woke up Sunday morning and there was a bit of a puddle at the end of the street. Well, bit of rain. That happens, you get a bit of a puddle, don't you? But, so, it was kind of like, oh, well, there, that storm's been. And then forever afterwards, there's been on the news about flooding here, flooding there. Stump Cross was flooded out and Shibden Mill in. There's flooding in Dean Clough, and then down in Hebden Bridge and Todmorden and Sowerbury. Everywhere there's businesses flooded, homes flooded, everywhere flooded. And I was just like, I didn't notice anything really. So the Sunday, got a taxi back to work, of course. Work was alright, we hadn't really had much of a leak in for all that rain, and didn't seem to have any tiles blowing off or anything, which is good for all the wind. Van was still plonked outside work. So I was like, oh great, well that's me calling the police then to get it towed. Because it's blocking access anyway. So you're not allowed to block access, that's illegal. So it can be towed just for that. But what I hadn't seen in the dark of the night before, when I came out and got the other side of it, was the front right tyre had a big hole in it. It wasn't just a puncture, it had blown out completely. It was wrecked. And the front side of the van was a bit sort of not very, it was all beat up and stuff, but the whole van actually was a complete wreck. It was a 7 plate, it's a 2007. And yeah, so I had to ring the police, but of course with all the flooding and everything else going on, the police were a bit busy as it was, so I was on the phone forever waiting to get through. Finally got through and took all the details and said, right, that will get something to deal with it. And I got my way on with my painting, so this was like 1:30. Well, at 6 o'clock I got a phone call back from the police by a nice lady who was going to deal with it. So she ran the plate through and says, well, it's uninsured and it's got no registered keeper, so effectively it should be off the road and definitely not outside your warehouse. So once she ascertained that it was just on a public street and there was no access restrictions, she arranged for a tow vehicle. But she said she couldn't say how long it'd take because of all the problems and everything, and obviously having to tow dead cars out of flooded roads and all sorts. So so I thought, well, I'll hold out a bit, and then it's back to getting a taxi home and a taxi back to work in the morning, which wasn't going to be my favouriteest idea, but there's not a lot you can do really. So I was literally at 7 o'clock calling a taxi, and I heard a big hiss of air brakes and a big meaty engine. I was like, ooh, could it be? I opened up the roller shutter, and this guy popped his head under. He's like, it's not your van, is it? I was like, no, it's blocking me in. So he's like, oh well, that's fine, I'll have it out your way in 10 minutes. And off he did, set off and loaded it onto his flat loader thing, which was quite an experience. I stood and watched him, despite the fact it was actually pretty cold. I was frozen by the time he'd done. Yeah, so got that out of the way, and that was pretty much my weekend at work after a week at work. It's great, isn't it? So what else happened? Well, back to work Monday, of course. I haven't done a great deal of posts on the Steam blockchain this week. I've been a bit hit and miss with it. Oh my, dear me, tired again. Just been kind of busy with stuff, work stuff, and then just not been in the mood on a night really. So, but we'll see what happens, because all cryptos are up, which is good news. And in fact, Steam has rapidly increased in value, which is good. So all good that way. And Monday, like I say, just didn't usual Monday back at work stuff, to be honest. Nothing too exciting. Then Tuesday, let's see if this guy's gonna let me in. First thing in the morning, I had to go to Leeds Bradford Airport to pick 3 gentlemen up from Ireland and bring them back to work to look at the coffee roaster. So yeah, they flew in from Dublin, landed at 9 Tuesday morning. I got there pretty much at 9 actually. I had to wait about 25 minutes for them to clear whatever at the airport, but picked them up, drove them back to Halifax, and we sort of looked at the roaster, did a load of roasting, talked about it. I mean, to be fair, I did all the talking I needed to do between Leeds Bradford Airport and Halifax, because they asked all their questions, which were many, all the way there, so I kind of ended up doing all the answers there. So I did that, and that lasted till probably about 12:30, 1 o'clock. And we get 10:15 when we got back, so there's been a few hours of work. And then they walked into Halifax to get some food and just have a tourist about before they were going to get a taxi back to the airport and fly back to Dublin that night. So literally just come over to the UK. Well, for a day. Yeah, fly in just for one day. That's what they did. So, and they seem to have figured out everything from what I told them, which is good, because they've said that they're ready to order a big roaster. So that was good. It was worth the effort. Quite pleased. Right, I shall go and dump my parcels and see if Mr. Nellis has emailed me any information, and then I will be back. See you soon. Right, we are back from the parcel delivering, and I have found Mr. Nellis's words of wisdom lurking in my mailbox. So, Mr. Nellis says, my things to talk about on your vlog. My mum, as she is going to Lanzarote from Sunday to Thursday during the school holiday. Oh yes, it's school holidays, isn't it, now for a week? Forgot about that. On Friday, 2 weeks later, I'm going to Laser Zone in Huddersfield as a Penang Magpie trip. Very good. Have some coffee there. Did Callum go to your mum's dad's funeral? No, in fact, he wanted to go to school, so he stayed at school, and then neighbour watched him at our house until we got back at night. The Ghostbusters actor who wears glasses returning to films after a 23-year break. In case you don't know, as the clue is, of course, it's not Harold Ramis. Fair enough. David Hockney's diver painting sold more than £23 at the auction. I'm sure it may be more than £23, but I don't know. The 2020 Oscars, not seen Oscars, to be honest, Richard. So there you are. That's probably about everything then. That was a definite flash, as opposed to just that dip in the road going dippy-de-dip. So lucky as why my hazards hazard button goes on easily, off really hard. I don't know why that is. So you put your hazards on to thank someone for letting you out, and then they're just on, and you're like pressing it and it's not going off. And I'm like, please go off. I don't want to be driving along with my hazards on for the rest of the day. Oh, obviously I've let him out now. Saying that, in Leeds, coming back from Leeds Bradford Airport, there was a bus parked at the side of the road, and he put his indicator on, and I was like, well, I'm going past you because you're still parked there and whatever else. So he put his indicator on, I went to go past him, he just drove out. He paid absolutely no interest in the fact that I was alongside him, and he just pulled out. To the point I then had to stop while he just continued, because I was now on the opposite side of the road to avoid crashing into him and then getting behind. I was just like, evidently the Leeds bus drivers don't take any messing around, do they? Because around here, you know, when he's pulled over, they wait until someone lets them go, you know, and if cars go past them, they wait, and then when the cars stop passing them and let them go, then they go. But yeah, obviously in Leeds, it's just a case of I'm indicating and pulling out, and it's up to you to get out of my way. Which I suppose it's fair enough if you want to keep up with your schedule of bus journeying. You don't want to be waiting ages, you just pull out, and if someone crashes into you, it's not your bus really anyway, is it? You're just driving whatever, and it's all insured. So there you are. So yeah, Monday just sort of steady away at work. Tuesday the guys came from Dublin. Right, let's this is particularly, no, I can't. Awkward position that you just cannot see anyone's coming down or not. Tuesday guys came from Ireland. So Wednesday, bit of a roasting day, and a fair amount to get through, and then stripped down an old espresso machine to add to my parts. I had to get the brass groups out and the boiler, because obviously with a metal merchant they want everything separate, or it's all classed as mixed metal and you don't get half the value, or a fraction even of the value you could do.
30 miles per hour.
So past that bike. So I speeded up a little bit then to get past the bike, but actually went a little bit too fast. If the camera van was about, he'd have had me. So yes, separated all the bits up, which again was another tedious task of unbolting various bits and pieces. And it was a bit of a different machine that I'm used to, espresso machine. And they had some interesting ideas, the Italians, with this particular design. So there's a lot of bolts and things that were inaccessible to get at, to remove bits. So that was very annoying. Thursday, just pretty average day, and today's been steady away today, really. It's been a bit quieter. I don't know if it's a bit of a funny time. Yeah, the weather's not really helped. I say a lot of places locally are clearing up from being flooded out, let alone thinking about anything else. Oh, something I have forgotten about though. Oh well. Oh, I can sort it out tomorrow actually, doesn't matter, I'm going to work anyway. So,
radar, check speed. Mute on.
Mute on. Shut up. So, yeah, today's been pretty steady. You have to keep pausing and concentrate on things. Really tedious. So yeah, my train of thought's now abandoned the station completely, and mine just gone. I don't know, I've been a bit not quite on form today somehow. My brain's not quite been in the zone it wants to be in, which happens sometimes, I don't know why. So tomorrow I shall be heading back to work to do more painting. So I've not done any during this week because this is the problem. See, you're busy working all week doing normal work stuff, so it's going to have to be a weekend project, and realistically I'm not spending all Saturday and all Sunday doing it. It's just fitting hours in, so it'll be a slow process, but I'll get there eventually. I will. So other than that, what else? I've not really watched anything, I don't think. Oh, yeah, I watched a Jason Statham, an old Jason Statham movie. It was a gambler. I can't remember what it was called actually. Something Run maybe. Forget. That was pretty good. It was pretty standard Jason Statham fare actually. Lots of violence. It was alright, it was entertaining. Then I don't know. I not watched a lot else really. Funny enough, I've been watching the what was it? The October Faction for some time, but I kind of broke off it this week for a while. I could do with getting back into it and watching a bit more, but Who knows what's been happening at the weekend? Cars everywhere. It's carnage. Oh dear. So yes, it's Friday the 14th of February, which means it is Valentine's Day today. And unsurprisingly, I got no Valentine's cards. So yeah, that was exciting, wasn't it, today? And yeah, that's pretty much it, really. Nothing exciting to say at all, really. I say, just been plodding along with Steam. Could do with getting more comments done. Could do with replying to more comments. I just don't have the time or inclination at the moment. One thing and another. It's just, you know, working all the time, and then now starting this painting lark at work as well. That's going to be a big issue. And then got this big roaster coming, and I've got to try to prepare everything for that. And it's just like loads and loads of stuff all piling on me. Clean the windscreen a bit. Struggling to see where I'm heading. So yes, I don't know. Like I say, the weekend really mostly is going to involve painting, which is not going to be super exciting, but it's got to be done. We'll see what we've got going on at work next week. Just had an order for a new coffee grinder for Victorian Craft Beer, because they're starting to think that their grinder's a bit worn out, and apparently they got it free anyway. So and I've got another one going down to a gentleman that came a few weeks back to see me roast coffee with him. Well, he's waiting for his roaster to turn up, so he's got a grinder going. A few grinders going out. So yes, we'll see what next week brings. Hopefully it will be exciting. Hopefully the continued rise of little fire cryptocurrencies, including Steam and Bitcoin, because I've got a fair bit in Bitcoin, and that's increased in value quite nicely. The trouble is, of course, is making sure I find the point where it's high to sell before it drops back down again, and then I'm like, oh well, I'll wait out now because it's dropped again. But you just never know what the top value is going to be. You see, I don't know. Will it keep climbing, or will it just stay where it is? Will it drop again? Who knows? So I'm a bit unsure. I'm tempted to hold on and see if it's going to reach a lot higher than it is at the moment still, but we'll see. Anyway, have a good weekend and week next week, and I'll catch you in next week's coffee vlog. See ya.